Hello, everyone. We're going to cover topic 13 for this session here. And just to know that I'm going to review the test again, test number 3, and all the requirements of it. And I'm also going to take a look at the deliverables that are due as part of your participation activities and some of the assignments. So that's what you're going to get out of this. In terms of test number 3, none of the content that I'm going to discuss is in part of any questions in test number 3, but I see that it's very valuable because it's really going to set you up for the future, and you'll be able to understand how AI is really going to impact your job, your life, and there's so many things to consider. And the biggest reason why I'm covering this is that at some point in time, you're going to have to make some decisions when it comes to using and maybe designing and implementing AI. And that's where the rubber hits the road in terms of you making the right decisions from an ethical and a corporate social responsibility point of view, so that you do the right things. But what it does do, this presentation really gives you a sense of what AI is about and where the future lies with AI, and then how you can become an AI manager rather than be managed by AI, and help you in your career going forward. So that's what that's all about. All right, so I'll start with this slide. Test number 3, again, it's a one-time deal. And please, if there's any kind of problem that you cannot make this time, because it's only one time at 7 p.m. till 8:20 on December the 17th. It's during the exam week. And let me know, because there's very little time to reschedule, because the marks are due fairly shortly after this test. And there's not that much margin for making any kind of arrangements. Okay, so it's an off-campus online. You access it through topic 13 on Blackboard, and the lockdown browser and webcam is required for test number 3. And also, please test your lockdown browser and webcam that they are working before test time. Nothing worse than having to deal with some technical difficulties during the test itself. I will be online at that time, and you'd be able to send me some emails if there's a problem or whatever. The test content, again, is going to be topic 9, 10, 11, and 12. And the nature of the test, 50 multiple choice, and some, overall 50 questions, mainly multiple choice, and some true and false questions. And again, the duration is 80 minutes. Okay. All right. So, you've seen this before, but, the practice tests for this test are important to review. And you can find those in topic 12. And this is the link to the practice test for test number 3. The commentary presentations are key. I keep talking about, what's been highlighted in yellow, the yellow keys emboldened, and that really gives you an idea of where you need to focus your studies. And the Robbins PowerPoint for these chapters, and these are the chapters that are you can access through Blackboard at the commentary type topics. And you can and read these, and they'll really give you a good idea of the content, and you'll be able to understand that. All right, so you start with the commentary presentations, then you work with the Robbins e-text presentations, then do the practice test, and or at least review that practice test, and then these things will give you a sense of really what to focus on in the Blackboard topic slides, in these slide decks that are in the topics. And again, the participation activities, the learning that you get with these participation activities will really help you interpret what the questions are in the test, and help you and succeed in that piece. Now then, if you need additional information, there's the video presentations, and of course you can read the chapters in the e-text going through. Again, this is what the posting looks like in Blackboard topic 13. You click on that and you start the test. It will appear at 7 p.m. on December 17th, and you don't see it right now. And again, really make sure that your respond is locked down and your webcam is working before you start that test. Okay, so here's some additional information. I don't think there was any Chromebook users, but if you are a Chromebook user, make sure that you read these instructions because it's not as straightforward and there's a few things, but you can always consult with the library. They can help you with all these things and make sure, if there's a problem, the first thing that you do is you clear your cache and cookies and use Google Chrome to be able to access the test and update your Chromebook's operating system. So those kind of things will really get rid of any kind of problems that normally show up, when you're doing this. Okay, so let's start with the participation activities. The first one, 13A, this is a group team exercise. And essentially the information that I want you to find and put down in here is in this presentation. So if you go through this presentation, you'll be able to identify the top 10 uses of AI in management and provide a brief reason. And again, the reasons why I ask you for a reason is to make sure that you do some critical thinking. Okay, so that's what that's all about. And again, this is just a reminder, the top 10 uses in AI management, you'll find them in this presentation. So if you go through it, you'll get there. The second one is to basically, to get the 3 bonus marks in your participation overall, is to actually create a PDF and show me a screenshot. And it's just a small screenshot. You don't have to show the results or anything else of all the tests. And this kind of explains there's some of the tests, surveys that were asked for and were marked. So they're not included in this, you got to do 30 out of the 34 to be able to show me that you've done these things. Okay. All right. And again, there's a post assessment. This is assignment number 6. It's worth 1 mark. And essentially, this is the link. You won't find it on this presentation itself. Go to the topic 13 to get the actual link, and it will bring up one of my Google Docs, and you'll fill out that form, and it really gives us information on where you started, at that pre-assessment, and then where you're ending now at the post-assessment, and get a sense of, hey, how far have you come, and where do you think you need to take a look at your personal development when it comes to management in any area that you decide to choose in your career. Okay, the assignment number 4, which is a group team project. There was an old link, in topic 13, but now that's been updated, so you should be able to get to this assignment and do it. And again, you don't do all 29 questions. You choose the questions that you're going to answer, and you need to come to a minimum of 100 points, and that's how it gets marked. And then say if your total number of points for the selected questions that you've used is over, then I will mark it in terms of that number. So it's really important to actually fill out the table of contents and do the math so I know the total amount of points that your selections add up to, and then I mark accordingly, right? The assignment number 5 is a team member review. And again, this is really to get a sense of, how you kind of used your talents and capabilities based on where you thought you were in terms of the Pearson Rebel survey. So this is pretty key. This will really help you. Okay, so let's get started with artificial intelligence. Now, here's the main issue, and this is people don't really talk about that. What you see in social media and what you see in publications is all the great things that AI is doing, but you really not understand a fundamental way of looking at AI. AI can be used as a tool, or sometimes AI is used as an agent. And right off the bat, when AI is used as an agent, there's a lot more risk involved. All right. So AI as a tool, well, you have human control. You have full control of what that AI is doing because you've specified, the bookends, or you specified the scope of what that AI tool is going to do for you. It does specific tasks, and it's fully transparent, so you can see how things are going, and you can make improvements on going that. on doing that, on what you've designed in terms of AI. And now AI as an agent, well, that gives AI agency. And agency means a degree of autonomy, which means they can do, AI can start thinking for itself. It could start learning for itself. So what happens then is that these AI can make decisions and take actions without direct human intervention. And that's when you can get into problems if you haven't foreseen, what's going on. So, and it could make, if you give it a straight command, it will find its own way to achieve that command, and you may not like the results. So that's key. So with complex tasks, AI agents are often used for more complex tasks, and like say for autonomous driving, and look at what you've heard in the news about Tesla not really interpreting what a deer was in front of the vehicle. So there's those kind of things that you really have to keep in mind when you're looking at using AI in a brand new application. And this is why we're talking about this, because you're going to be making some of these decisions. There's less transparency. You really don't see what's going on. And here's some examples. So self-driving cars, or virtual personal assistants, or automated trading systems. Automated trading systems, if you really, if you're giving the AI some agency, well, then it may do something very drastic and go out of control. And those are the kind of things that you need to keep into consideration, right? So the key difference is, in terms of it as a tool, you have much more control. In terms of task complexity, the tools handle specific or often simpler tasks, and there's a lot more transparency. And when you get into the agency of it, well, then you have different things that you need to consider in this decision. So poor management decisions in the use of AI can have such a significant impact and significant consequences on the organization. So here's some of the risks: data privacy and security risks, bias and discrimination, a decreased employee morale, a customer dissatisfaction, regulatory non-compliance. So somehow, the machine will put the organization in a vulnerable position, and next thing you know, the organization is going to court, trying to defend some of the actions that it's taken. It could do a lot for operational inefficiencies, and then actually stagnate innovation. So those are the kind of things you need to think about. But when you're using AI as an agent, here's where you get into some pretty significant things in terms of bias and fairness, and privacy and security, and lack of transparency, and these ethical concerns. You may have the machine doing things that really contravene, triple bottom line, and you don't know that until it starts happening. If you've given AI agency, or the capability of that having more autonomy to learn and do things, to build on its experience. Over reliance, and that's another thing. We may start over relying on things and thinking AI is going to do it for us, and then we find out near the end that we really didn't achieve the outcomes. Incorrect implementation, regulatory compliance that I mentioned, all the operational risks that are involved, resource intensive, how it could take on the use, and maybe it'll be doing something for you, and all of a sudden the organization is using up a lot more energy costs, or time on operating time on your systems. And then job displacement. We really need to be cognizant of what job displacement could do to society, and so that you really need to measure that and use a measured response. Okay, so what are the current trends right now in 2024 for artificial intelligence? Well, look at this. China, by 2030, AI is projected to contribute to 26.1% of China's GDP. So just think about that. The 26% that of all gross domestic product will be driven by AI. I mean, that's phenomenal. So you could see how fast AI is being applied, into technology and into systems and into organizational capabilities. And look at North America is going to be way behind. And again, um, in this North America piece, it's Canada really that's taking this number right down. Because if you take a look at the U.S., the U.S. alone, it's 21% of the net increase under GDP. So you can see where Canada is losing ground here, and this growth reflects transformative impact on AI. Across many sectors, and from technology to healthcare and beyond. So there's a lot to know about, and we have to do a reality check. You know, uh, where's it moving? What are the more realistic expectations? There's a lot of hype out there. So we're moving beyond inflated expectations and entering a phase where, it's you got to be pragmatic about it. And Gartner, which is a premier, consulting firm or global consulting firm, has a lot of information. So if you get into this link, you could find out a lot more about what's going on. And again, it's multimodal AI. And so that there's multiple modalities in text, images, videos, it's everywhere. And then there's the language models, and we're going to talk about that a lot more because language models are becoming so integrated, with autonomous websites and all those pieces. But here's the thing, and here's a consideration to understand is that all this takes energy, right? All this takes is capability. So there's going to be some shortages, in GPU and cloud costs are going to just hit the roof because they're going to have to store all this in memory and in data. And the thing is that techniques for optimizing AI models are becoming more accessible. So AI is going to get more and more capable, and also it's all about data, and so you really need to become very cognizant of how you're going to manage data in the organization that you're going to be working in. And what's happening? Well, the virtual agents are becoming more and more powerful. So expect smarter context-aware agents. And in terms of chatbots or virtual assistants, and then there's a lot of issues around regulation and copyright and ethical concerns. So ethical considerations are going to become paramount. And here's where, again, that you come in to make sure that you have this triple bottom line view of what's going on in terms of being a really good ancestor and making sure that you're really creating benefits for future generations and not creating other concerns. So again, here's some links for you to go through that. But just what you need to understand that AI is reshaping the business landscape. It's going to revolutionize, and it is revolutionizing industries and transforming the way we work. So as college students, this is crucial for your success to understand, what AI is going to do in terms of your role. And, I keep saying, that, if you don't manage AI, you'll become managed by AI or displaced by AI. So, be cognizant of what's going on there. So what is it? So AI it refers to machines or software that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. But examples like natural language processing, which we're going to be talking about a little more, machine learning, computer vision, and robotics. So this is going to have a great impact in the next business generation. And again, what kind of impact will that have on your roles, on your business roles? Well, as a business practitioner and leading AI instead of being led by AI, you're going to need to know a lot more about strategic thinking. You're going to have to understand change management because it's all going to be about transformation. And you need to understand, that there's going to be a lot of ethical decision making to be had, when you're looking at these implications of AI. And the thing is, in terms of ethical decision making, keep talking about, training is involved. and if you have some training on making decisions based on, ethical decisions, you'll have a lot more capability to, or understanding to make the right decision. Okay, so in terms of expectations, you're gonna have to lead AI projects. You're gonna have to balance AI benefits with ethical considerations, and then when you're building AI solutions, um, so those people really getting into it, they're going to need to understand programming languages, machine learning algorithms, and data engineering. So I think back of, where I was in my experience in terms of doing business process improvement, back in a few years back. And what it is that as a manager and looking at improving the processes, I really had to understand the implications of what the IT people needed. And so that I had to specialize in doing business descriptions, for the IT people. Well, that's no different. I don't think we expect anybody, as a manager in managing people to understand or do programming languages, but you need to understand how to set the expectations, for the transformations that have to be done. All right. Okay. And then understanding AI, well, here's some key things. You're going to need to know a little bit more about probability and statistics, but big data analytics is going to be key because that's what it is. That's where the gold is. The AI can go into a lot of big data and get to the point where it really understands the nuances of what that data is, and then they could start even predicting, and actually prescribing what has to get done. And then data visualization. How are you going to communicate those findings effectively, right? So those are the skills that you're going to need, and the expectations on how to interpret the AI results, and then how to collaborate with the data scientists or the people that are making those changes for you. And then creating AI solutions, well, the skills needed, deep learning and neural networks, problem solving, the business acumen. You're going to need these things to be able to innovate on AI-driven products and enhancing customer experiences. And how will it change business roles? How will AI change that? Well, automation, there's no doubt about it. It's going to replace a lot, and not only just, low-skilled workers. It's going to replace a lot of professional work that's going on in terms of decision support. AI will provide data-driven insights for better decision making. It's going to create absolutely new job roles. So, strap in and really get a sense of what's going on. Maybe you want to become an AI ethicist at one point in your career, and then the upskilling, it's going to be lifelong learning on steroids. Lifelong learning will be the essential way to stay relevant with all this. So what does this have to do with the evolution of management principles, theories, and techniques? Well, it's all disruptive technology that's going to be coming in at a faster rate. And I've talked about disruptive technologies. I talked about, how the iPod, changed things in the music industry. So what's going to be needed then? Well, from all this data-driven decision making, well, AI decisions will increasingly be based on data analytics and predictive modeling. So you really need to understand, what that's all about. You need to understand, that agility and flexibility is going to come to the forefront. So you'll have to evolve and emphasize agility. So the management principles will have to more or less emphasize these factors that are coming into play. The enhanced human AI collaboration. In terms of getting people motivated to deal with AI as a partner. So you're going to need to come up with frameworks for effective human AI interaction. That's all going to change. What the management principles of the day are going to need to look like, so that you can establish those theories and develop the techniques to deal with all this. Okay, so the new management focus areas for you. Ethical AI implementation, we talked about that a lot. The talent management and upskilling, and the innovation and creativity. So those are the key focus areas that you're going to have to work in. And again, from that, and from those innovations, management principles, theories, and techniques, will have to evolve to meet those challenges. So how do you prepare for the future? Well, continuous learning, adaptability and resilience. So developing that growth mindset that's open to change and you need to be prepared to pivot and adapt new roles and then collaboration skills. So you have to not only collaborate with people now, you have to collaborate with those assistive systems. So the thing is, in conclusion, managers will need to focus on ethical AI implementation, talent management, fostering innovation. Workers are going to have to worry about continuous learning, develop adaptability and flexibility, and enhancing their collaboration skills. And that's what's going to drive the future. So just a little bit about, natural language processing. I mean, this is going on right now, and it's going on fiercely, I guess, if I could use that term. And what it is then, it enables computers and digital devices to recognize, understand, and generate text and speech by combining computational linguistics. And together with statistical modeling and machine learning and deep learning, this is all driving this piece. And we can see this. I mean, just if you take a look at how ChatGPT and Copilot have progressed just in the last 12 months, it has a lot to do with NLP. So that's one of the keys to understand is, if you want to improve things, that's one of the areas, where inside of generative AI, with the communication skills of large language models, you'll have the ability, to increase the capabilities of things like chatbots and everything else. So that's the thing. So NLP is crucial because it bridges the gap between human communication and computer understanding, and enhances various applications, for virtual assistants, translation services, sentiment analysis. So now we're starting to bring emotion into the marketing component of understanding, how people are feeling, with the data that they're producing, customer support, and ultimately making technology more accessible and user friendly. And again, with all these advantages, there's some things that are, some threats and, behind that you really need to understand. This is just to, give you a sense of, where, a lot of the countries, rest in the number of countries in text mining and sentiment analysis, just to know that it's really going on, and how do you identify those opinions? And again, I keep on saying that, in my time, what we tried to do is, we got information from customers and we tried to predict what they want. In today's world, we're measuring what they want, and actually prescribing from those, from those realities of how people are feeling and how they're really using the products and services. So get ready, for the AI future. Learn the basics. Stay curious. Collaborate with different, aspects of, who's doing what in the AI sectors, and then ethics first, because, this is really going to drive triple bottom line, as you go through there. So here's some references for you. But, just know that it's going to redefine management and the workforce of the future. And again, look at the data shows that the use of AI in many sectors has grown 270% over the last 4 years. So it's not like it's coming, it's here. And it's just going to accelerate in terms of change. And why? It's because AI is learning as it's being developed. And it's in, there's some compound interest going on here in terms of what its capabilities are going to be like even from now until next year. I can imagine some great breakthroughs and some great increases in capabilities. So, strap in and get ready. Okay, so look at this. According to Gartner, by 2030, 80% of today's project management work will be automated. What does that say about professional work? All right. 78% of executives surveyed believe that increasing the use of AI and robots will dramatically reduce middle management ranks, right? So be aware of the skills that you're going to need to survive, and traditional management has reached the breaking point. So that's where we're at. So again, you think of, well, as I get seasoned in my organization, and as the manager, I'm going to have all this knowledge that makes me valuable. But look at bosses may have years of experience under their belt, but that doesn't mean they're irreplaceable. In fact, managers are some of the easiest people to replicate with AI. So those are the things that's going on. And it's going to be more predictive. And then once they start validating the prediction capability, it's going to be a lot more prescriptive. So it's going to be telling people what they should be doing. And again, with the background that you need to aspire to, you'll be able to say, well, in my judgment, what they're predicting or sorry, prescribing, has certain consequences. So let's really take a look at, what AI is telling us to do, and so all of this for faster and more efficient than any human. So it's going to be important. So again, I started talking about, the the new the evolution of management principles, and again, empathy is becoming, as one of the key areas that we really need to migrate to develop these new management principles. It's found its place in the heart of modern business management, and it's about fostering that culture that values people, relationships, and understanding. We can't lose sight of that. Otherwise, we're going to separate, from machines, from people. And, on the negative side, there's people out there that just want to replace people with machines just to increase their wealth, and don't really care, where society's going. And the thing is that, you'll need to know these kind of things. All right. So here's some empathy influences. You need to think about employee well-being, about the customer themselves, and how is that, keeps the customer-centric approach in mind, and how we're going to manage innovation and creativity, how we're going to manage conflict resolution, and how we're going to manage ethical decision making. And empathy plays a big part, in these 5 factors going through, or 6 or 7 factors. How adaptable are we going to be? How are we going to still manage on diversity and inclusion? So those are the kind of things. So empathy is not a weakness, it's a strength. This is how we redefine success, as we embrace empathy, and one human interaction at a time. So those are the kind of things. So here I'm getting into now, your 13A participation activity. So, what are the benefits of AI? Well, here they all are. You can read those. What some examples of specific industry applications. Healthcare is going big time. Financial services, industrial maintenance and transportation, they're at the forefront of what's going on. And which industries will have a big impact? Well, I mentioned that in these pieces. And then, what are the applications? Here's 15 of right now, what's going on in artificial intelligence. And then here's a little information about, what management and leadership think about what's going on. So 86% of managers say they want help in intelligent systems when monitoring and reporting. So the thing is, the impetus is there. I'm giving you this information to really give you an awareness that things are just going to get faster and faster, and there's going to be more demand for what's going on. So what do you need to know? Managers need to recognize AI could be, and administrative work. Managers are ready but cautious about AI. Managers welcome AI and help with their current roles, and managers are not focused right now on the right skills to stay relevant. So already it's picking up on a baseline that, overall, we're not really prepared for AI yet. So, this is the piece. So here's some of the expected impacts. So with coordinate and control, AI is going to have a big impact on that. Solving problems, still a very big impact. But look, it's slowly, growing in people and community and strategy and innovation. And this kind of points to, where you can make the biggest inroads to increasing your skills and capabilities, and increase, the demand for your services as a manager. Okay, so 84% of managers say that they'll make their work more effective and interesting, but 36% say, hey, it threatens our jobs. So these are the kind of things that you need to worry about. So I'm not going to go through these. This is for your benefit to really get a sense of where this is going. But Accenture's done a lot of work around where is AI going, and online surveys. So they've got a lot of information that you can derive from. And again, now we're just getting into some of the other areas of how AI is going to drive information systems in ways. So what is MIS? It's a study of people, technology, and organizations. It's hardware and software. It's all about database management. It's all about networks. But now you get into functional systems. And what we're finding is that these functional systems are getting specific. So now you can find, a customer relationship management system, for dentists. You can find it, for shoe sales. For an enterprise resource plan or enterprise resource management, there's just a plethora of different organizations out there like Oracle or SAP or IBM, and the number goes on, that produce these overall frameworks for the overall organization. And AI is going to drive the decision making in there, and making you're collecting information on the go, and there's going to be virtual view of the entire organization through these things. And again, if you take a look at supply chain management, the supply chain management system is getting more and more advanced. And where to look at there is that IBM is in the forefront of supply chain management, and using blockchain, as a way to to have protect information. So there's like crypto capabilities of blockchain with information, and crypto capabilities in terms of exchange of money. All right. So again, job of management requires extensive use of IT or IS, and making it to monitor the performance of the organization. And so where's the important objectives? Well, operational excellence, new products and services, customer and supplier intimacy, and we talked a lot about, finding the right suppliers and using TQM practices. Well, this is going to get a lot more automated, improved decision-making, competitive advantage, and survival. So those are the kind of things to understand about, and it's still, you're looking at inputs, they get processes and outputs, and it's pretty basic on the functions of an information system, but it's just getting more complex in terms of how to operate that and how to integrate AI into this thing. So your role, you need to have more information systems literacy. You need to know a little bit more about computer literacy. You need to know something about management information systems, and then it's all about a meeting of organizations, technology, and people, and going from there. So I'm going to skim through this. This is we're going to get into a little bit more detailed, but and this is right out of your slide deck as well. But know what a CRM is, know what SCM is, know what ERP is. And then here's this thing I kept on talking about, is that here's where business intelligence comes in, and AI is really kind of making some big inroads. So AI will, and with MIS, what's happening in your business, and then you can say, why is it happening? And then when you have enough information, then you can get to the predictive layer and saying, well, if we don't do something, here's what's going to happen. Or if we make a key change, here's what's going to happen. But here's the piece where I think AI is going to shine, because it's really going to understand these three phases and start saying, here's what you need to do. What do I need to do, and why? And so really get a sense of how AI is going to pervade a business intelligence and analytics, as they go through. Here's just a, an example of what business intelligence software could do, and then understand a little bit about, how data is mined. So you get all these data sources, you gather that data, you model it, and then you deploy models to be able to find out what you want to find out. Okay, a little more details on this. I'm not going to cover blockchain, but especially if you're going to get into global logistics, you better understand what blockchain is all about. Here, is how blockchain works. And really what blockchain is able to do. It's all part of the system that gives you real-time view of what's going on, and it's already, supply chain management. Blockchain is becoming a big part of that. So it offers transparency and allowing tracking ownership history, pinpoints, exact origin. So it gives you such great capability. But here's something, that you are going to be exposed to, day one when you get into your new job, as you leave the program or whatever, the Internet of Things. And you should understand this because, this is where a collective network of connected devices and technology comes together. I talk about, how, the interdependency of making things happen. Well, here's just an example. Here's an example of, college students' smart dorm room systems. And just think of the Internet of Things. The system can include smart lighting, climate control, security features, all accessible through a smartphone app. I mean, this is where the Internet of Things are going, and it's just going to get more and more capable. So wanted you to know about that. And then just to give you an idea of what's going on in the Canadian supply chain, and this is what you need to know about Canada, right? Canada has a diverse population. I think that hundreds of countries have sent, or have we gained immigrants from. So one is that we can speak languages across the world. Number two is we have a very innovative and advanced telecommunication system, and we're very strong in IT, which means that we could drive supply chain or global supply chain for the world. And what that means is there's always going to be a lot of jobs there. And I just wanted to show you, where the Canadian supply chain professional positions, will come from, 50,000 to 183,000 a year. And again, these are the kind of things that will give you a sense of where the opportunities are. Okay, that's about it. So that's it for the presentation. Really, it was intended to be able to give you a sense of what are still some of the deliverables you have to do near the end of the course, but really to give you some insights is how pervasive artificial intelligence is and will be, and how fast the development will be, and how really you need to look ahead and see what kind of capabilities you're going to need, because the traditional roles of management are going to change, and then the traditional ways of management principles in our era is definitely going to change, because of this rapid transformation of this technology. And you want to talk about disruptive technologies in your lifetime, you're going to see a lot more in your career lifetime than I have. Okay, so I'll leave you with that. And thank you for listening in on these webinars, and I wish you the best in your term.